Hey everyone, Mike here. Just want to let you know that the stream that you're about to watch was recorded via the DevOps Lounge. Head on over to chat.learndevops.com.au. You'll be forward to Discord. I really hope that we get to connect soon. Enjoy the stream. I reckon seeing as we've got a little bit of an audience already, we should get started. It's going to be a much more interactive, much more relaxed stream. It's going to be less about me recording videos and trying to sort of answer a few questions in a sort of structured way. It's going to be much more relaxed. We're going to look at some AWS updates, some Azure updates, some GCP updates, and some security updates just from the general sort of industry. And we're going to kind of develop this format over time. And I'm thinking we look at some updates from open source tools as well as some of the interesting tools that other people have found. And there is one actually I'm going to show tonight, which one of our members, Julio, actually discovered, but he doesn't appear to be here today. But that's okay, not a problem. It's a stream on Twitch. It's not Lex. It's not on Twitch. I was originally streaming on Twitch back in the day when I was doing the cloud coach thing, but I found that it was very difficult to know whether the audience was actually there. Whereas with Discord, I can see you. You're right there. You're connected. It's much more purposeful, much more closer. And so I like doing it here through the Discord. Although I may actually push it out to YouTube Live as well, because I can do both. I can stream to the Discord and to YouTube Live at the same time without using any intermediary services. I can just go to both. That won't be an issue. So that may be something that I look at in the future. Let me know if that's something that you're interested in. Let's have a look. We've got Dan's come in. Lex, welcome, guys. Audie said hello to Vince. Excellent. All right, cool. All right then. Well, let's reckon we get on with a few updates. Does anyone have any questions before we start? Again, I think this is just going to be a really, really relaxed session. So feel free to just throw questions out there, ideas, throw links at me as well. Happy to look at stuff. Meg's just going to be lurking. That's fine, Meg. Not a problem. Not a problem at all. All right, no chatters. Okay, let's pop straight over to the old HTTP. So, going to go over a few security AWS updates here. That one's actually not that interesting, so I'll knock that one off on the head. All right, so starting with AWS, we've got AWS having now introduced AWS WAF Security Automations 3.2. Now supports IP retention on allowed and denied IP sets. Customers can enter a retention period for these IP sets respectively to activate the feature. Once activated, the IP addresses due to expire will be removed from the IP set after reaching the defined retention period. This gives customers more flexibility to manage these IP sets. I think that's really, really nice. WAF isn't something I've looked at in a huge amount of detail, but I have played around. I have set up WAF several times. It's usually been via Terraform modules and things like that. It's pretty powerful. It's a pretty chunky tool. As you can see, it does protect against SQL injection, XSS, HTTP floods, scans, probes, bad bots, and things like that. So it's a pretty nice product. I believe it gets pretty expensive pretty quickly though. So it's nice to see this addition here with these a lot of automations around being able to pop on IP address and say allow these and then deny them after a certain time period and so on and so forth. That's actually a really nice feature. I can see that being really, really powerful. We can see it's mentioned here as well, AWS WAF Security Automations. Very nice. Alrighty, what was the other one that I had here? Let's have a look. So we've also got the availability of Microsoft Windows Server 2022 images on Amazon EC2. I think that's really interesting how we're not even in 2022, but Windows Server has decided to transport forward in time in the little time machine, and they've released Server 2022. So we've got IAMs available at this point in time. So if that's something that is of interest to you, if you run Windows in your environment, then I'm sorry to hear that. My condolences to you. Good luck, all the best. Lex says, what are your thoughts on using M1 Max for DevOps? Are you excited for the new MacBook 16s with M1X? I don't think I'd be using. Do you mean? Oh, you mean the M1 Max? Oh, sorry. For some reason, I thought you meant within AWS because we were just talking about a concept. You mean the actual physical Macs? I have a pre-M1 MacBook Pro that I bought just before the M1s came out. I think at the moment there's still potentially some tools that don't work very well on the M1 Mac. I think that because obviously it's a completely different CPU architecture. I think Docker's now working on the M1 Mac. I'm not entirely sure. I did see some updates where people were getting it working. And so for me, I think with something that's such a significant change in the product, which is in this case the CPU architecture. I think I would be considering a hiatus on just jumping ship to an M1 Mac until at least a couple of years have gone by, really. I just want to be able to sort of, I'm very much a believer in, I don't really want to fiddle around with the system too much. I've got this work PC here. It's got my OBS is working on it. It's got my Discord on it. Browsers, my ultra wide, got fancy zones. It's all just working. And so I just like to leave it at that. I don't like to play around with it too much. So the same if I go into a client's site and I want to do stuff, I don't really want to be fiddling around with my tools and making them work for that client. I want them to just sort of work. So for me, getting the M1 Mac at this point in time would just introduce too much risk with something not working and then preventing me from being able to help out a client. And so I'm not really keen on that. But I am excited to see where they go. Apparently they're very fast. So I am very excited to see where they go. I'm very unhappy with my MacBook Pro at the moment. It's pretty slow. When I boot it up, it takes time to warm up and kind of like, you're a premium product. It's 4 cores in there, maybe more actually. 16 gig of RAM, just kind of like, you shouldn't be booting up so slow. But we'll see how they go. Windows Server 2000, that's great. Right, I've got a few others on in here as well. AWS updates. I try and just pick out the stuff that I think looks interesting and relevant as possible. Support full Codify yet? Does AMI Windows Server support full Codify yet or nah? What do you mean by full Codify? What do you mean by that? Do you mean the orchestration of the operating system, like control management? Quick Site Queue is now generally available. I've never even heard of this product, and so I actually wanted to just pull this out just to see what it was about. I think is it a BI? Oh, I see. Yeah, it's BI. Okay. Okay. Understand your intent. Design for your business. Reduces time to insight. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. That's some pretty big names right there. I'd never even heard of this product, so when I saw an update for it, I thought, okay. Maybe just look at it and just see what this is actually about, because I don't even know what this is. But there you go, that's what it is. Machine learning powered BI service for the cloud. Excellent. Well, apparently it's now in general availability, so we'll be interested to see how that evolves. As I go into clients as well, there's a lot of BI. I deal with moving around a lot of data for customers. Seems to be doing a lot of migrations between S3 buckets at the moment, and that's for some BI departments to be able to do one thing, whilst another BI department want a copy of the data so they can do their own thing as well. So I don't directly interact with BI software or use BI software, but it's interesting to see if I start seeing this QuickSight Queue popping up around across the board when I move between clients. Let's have a look what the next one is. Oops, daisy. That's quite difficult to copy out of there. Let's fix that. Okay, very quick one. SES is now available in Osaka, which is Japan. So that's quite interesting. So if you have any interest in dealing in the Japanese region, then you've got SES in Osaka now, which is very nice indeed. So obviously there's a email service. If you want to send emails via AWS, you use SES. Let's have a look. So a full deploy via code only with full declarative styles, since DSC only work after running and installing the VM server itself. A full deploy via... Oh, I see what you mean. So you mean launching the Windows server and almost sort of providing the configuration at the same time? Correct. Yeah. Okay. So you mean like you can with cloud in it? Is that what you mean? Like you can with cloud in it? Or do you mean like you do with Debian, like auto answering? Yeah. Okay. Like cloud in it. Yeah. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm not a Windows person, so I'm not sure if that's something that is supported. Maybe someone else can answer that question. But I'm just not a Windows person at all. I try and recommend. Japan makes sense for law. Oh, is that with regards to email retention within the country? Yeah, a lot of countries are now starting to really tighten the privacy stuff. Hey, what's this one here? What's this update? Okay, so Amazon Detective supports S3 and DNS finding types at finding details. So I've never actually seen Amazon. I don't think I've seen Amazon Detective. So let's have a look to see what this one is about. Analyze the security data rapidly, get to the root cause of potential security. Oh, okay. This is quite new though, isn't it? Amazon Guard Duty is the one I'm thinking of. Macy, yeah, a security hub partner. It simplifies the process by enabling your security teams to easily investigate and quickly get to the root cause of a finding. Detective can analyze trillions of events from multiple data sources such as VPC, flow logs, CloudTrail, Guard Duty, and automatically create a unified interactive view of your resources, users, and the interaction between them. Okay, that's pretty cool. So it's able to analyze all those logs from various sources and then try and determine this is where the potential security problem came from. And then you can then try and maybe wrap that in an IAM policy to try and prevent that going forward, or see what kind of data actually got leaked in the end. So since Japan is more closer to US internal law, I think it's an umbrella service. Yeah, okay, that does make sense. Yeah. Like I said, I think a lot of countries now are really starting to tighten down on this kind of stuff. I like this. This is pretty good. Supports S3 and DNS finding types. That's pretty interesting. So that means it can go over the logs for S3 and DNS and Route 53 and look for specific things. When was the S3 bucket created? Who made it public? Did the user execute sensitive APIs such as disable logging? Yeah, okay. That's pretty cool. I think that's pretty interesting. Maybe I need to look at Detective a bit more closely. All right, let's move on to Azure. The GCP updates are going to be interesting because I have one. Because I actually found it really difficult to actually find any sort of just general page to just give me a list of GCP updates. I found one, but it just didn't really have a lot going for it. So Azure Government Top Secret, now generally available for US national security missions. That's pretty cool. Even just the title alone is pretty darn cool, to be honest with you. But that's interesting to see. I'll move up to ICD 503, ICD 705. Very cool. All right. That's interesting to see HIPAAs at the commercial level. Thought HIPAA would have been higher. I know HIPAA's all the health stuff. FedRAMP. DoD impact level 2, that's quite low. IL4 and IL5 starting to get high. IL6 is definitely high. I had IL6 clearance in the UK. That was pretty goddamn high. Top secret. Wow, that's serious stuff. That's serious stuff. I wonder if that's going to have to be like a physical different data center. So what does it say? Amazon top secret milestone. Because I wonder if you say I want a top secret workload in Azure. I wonder if it's like a segmented part of a data center or it's an individual data center on its own right, which meets top secret clearance needs. Infrastructure accordance operates Azure top secret infrastructure in accordance with Intelligence Committee. These new air-gapped regions of Azure will accelerate the delivery of national security workloads classified at the US top secret level. In addition, we now have 73 services in Azure Government Secret, and we continue to bring new services into the boundary aligned to mission priorities. That's pretty goddamn interesting. So it's actually going to be an actually fully air-gapped. Probably part of the same data center, easy to hide stuff in plain sight. That's a spin-off of a dedicated physical. So that's a good point, actually, Dan. Yeah, if you have it in the same data center, you're kind of like, well, I know where the data center is, but I don't necessarily know where the top secret part is because it could be anywhere inside that building. And then if they just air gap it, physical actual walls between them. But then the question you got to ask is, if there's top secret workloads in there, I wonder what the physical security has to look like. I wonder if they had to have. I wonder if the moment a top secret workload goes in there, I wonder if an armed guard has to be present at that part of the data center, which then highlights it to all the staff, right? That would be interesting. The only reason the government got this contract with Azure is because Trump had gripes with Bezos, not to get into politics. Really, do you reckon? Okay. That's an interesting look. Possibly. Build a unified strategy for mission anywhere. Interesting. Okay. Human int. Oh, nice. We're just being... SIGINT, I know SIGINT. IAM int. Is that mission? IAM int? Is the messenger int? Geo int, mass int, wow, OS int. There's a lot going on there. A lot of ints. Modern mission system, speed of innovation, protect the nation's data with connected cybersecurity, learn more. That's pretty impressive. Yeah, I think that's pretty impressive. I noticed that machine learning is the big trend in terms of new service. ML powered this, ML powered that. Yeah, it's pretty. We seem to be very good as a species in sort of just rushing into things, don't we? Like we pick something up and some people go, "That's really cool," and then all of a sudden it's like the coolest thing ever, and then it's then applied to just everything, and then it's just adopted everywhere, and it's like, oh, it's got to be ML. It's the same with Docker, right? When Docker came out, Docker's great. Docker's awesome. Containerization is really cool. Kubernetes is really cool. But now everything's just containerized. It's like, oh, it's containerized. It's Dockerized. It's this. It's that. It can get a little frustrating. Relevant. That's just, well, I can't. Yeah, that does look funny, but I can't. It's a good comic, but you're not going to be able to see it on the stream, so there's no point in me reading that out. All right, let's have a look what else there was. I think they're actually, Azure are doing some with TLS here as well. Site recovery upgrade to TLS 1.2 or later by number, blah, 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 blah. So they're basically shifting TLS 1.2 as much as possible. I think we're actually on TLS 1.3 at the moment, but obviously backwards compatibility. A lot of things still use 1 and 1.1. But ideally, we should definitely be... I think 1.1 is the Heartbleed one, yeah. I think it is the Heartbleed one. Versions 1.1, 1.2... Is it 1.1? TLS. Let's see if it is official. Why is it called Heartbleed? Is it design flaw? No. What is being leaked? It's a good question. I think it was 1.1. Let's have a look. Okay, what versions of OpenSL are affected? How come? What about my operating system? Going to be fixed? Heartbleed can it detect? Okay, TLS. Maybe I didn't do it quite. I mean, this page seems to be in pretty good detail, but I can't really seem to be able to actually just pick it off the page here. I think it was 1.1. See if it mentioned thingy in here. Access to security layers, suffering attacks among various vulnerabilities. Yeah, the one thing I learned to make practice computers backporting. Yeah, I think it was 1.1, but yeah, we can see here that Azure are pushing this service over site recovery over to 1.2. And I think most things now should be looking at 1.2, 1.3 natively if you can. Obviously, if it's something you deliver via a browser, then you do potentially have to consider your clients, who's accessing it. So when you work in government, state government, you obviously get to a point where, well, I have worked in state government, and you're sort of like, let's update the security of this, and you've got to kind of go, hang on a minute, we have internal users that might be using an old browser, or we might have external users. So when you're dealing with the general public, and you're actually being paid by the general public and serving the general public, you've got to be careful when upgrading to something like 1.2, because there could be people using very old phones that then can't access that public service. So it's actually quite a hard thing to do. Welcome to the failure of an embedded device, indeed. Yeah, it's a hard problem to solve, it really is. What was this? I keep clicking on the wrong thing here. Copy linkio. Let's have a look. Azure Functions Runtime 4.0 is now in public preview. I'm going to assume that Azure Functions is pretty much Lambda. So Runtime 4.0. I need to look at more of this stuff. Azure Functions. I wonder how it performs compared to Lambda. Let's have a look at the pricing. Consumption plan, premium plan, managed service plan. Run functions within an app service plan regular. That's a good fit for long-running operations as well, isn't it? So that's one thing. Like Lambdas are limited to 15 minutes. I wonder if they've sort of gone a little bit outside of the box and sort of let you run longer. And it looks like this one's here is for more sort of long-term. Scale automatically, only pay for the compute resource when your function runs. So that's more traditionally in line with Lambda. Part of demand, use pre-warm workers to run applications with no delay. That's pretty cool. And then long running. Yeah, okay. Very nice. Well, now 4.0 is running and it's in public preview. And it supports .NET 6.0, Node.js 14, Python 3, 3.7, 3.8, Java 8 and 11, PowerShell 7.0, and custom handlers. Expected to reach general availability November 2021, coinciding with the planned GA release of .NET 6.0. Interesting. What else have we got here? And I think, yeah, this is the last one for Azure. This was their tracing one, distributed tracing for Java apps on Azure Functions, Linux. So I think this is their equivalent to X-Ray or New Relic for doing internal app tracing. So then apparently now they've got a public preview of that for Java apps that you're going to be running on Azure Functions based on Linux. So that's pretty cool. Open tracing, closer to Jaeger, I imagine. So Jaeger, is that like let's have a look at Jaeger. So if I do Java Jaeger, will that get me what I need? Jaeger client, Jaeger tracing. Distributed app tracing. Okay. Looks like it's written in Go. About JGet inspired by Dapper and OpenSeven's distributed tracing system released open source by Uber Technologies. It is used for monitoring and troubleshooting microservices-based distributed systems, including distributed context propagation, distributed transaction monitoring, root cause analysis, service dependency analysis, performance, and latency optimization. Yeah, that's really nice. That's something that I did at a previous client here in Brisbane. We put X-Ray in place, and it was quite amazing actually being able to see all the calls inside of functions and then reaching out to another Lambda and doing this and making a call to an S3 bucket and doing this HTTP calls and just seeing this big graph just sort of open up. That was actually really, really nice because it meant that they could see where the latency was and where the calls were really slow, and they could be like, oh, well, we could make that async, we can make that asynchronous actually. We could split them out and make that in parallel because we don't actually need that result straight away. We can wait for that to come in and stuff like that. And so it was a real good way of actually optimizing the existing code base. Let's have a look. Take a look at open tracing. Okay. Open tracing, the Open Tracing project. Vendor neutral APIs and instrumentation for distributed tracing. Okay. It says Jaeger. Start Jaeger locally. So is open tracing just using Jaeger, or is it just using Jaeger as an example? Open tracing on Kubernetes, get your tracing for free. App developer, framework developer, get to train your code. Let's go. Let's have an example. It's a spec definition. I can't make the stream today, unfortunately. It says a link. That's okay, Link. Not a problem. Not a problem. It's been recorded, so it's all good. It'll go up on YouTube tomorrow. So that's all fine. Thanks for letting us know, though. Hopefully see you next time. Next Sunday is the next stream, or beyond that. Feel free to ask any questions, though. Like I said, if you have any questions on your mind, feel free to ask it, Link, and then I can record it. Hello world examples, Docker, Java. Okay, that's pretty cool. I like it. I like it a lot. Right, and then the only GCP thing that I could find, because again, the blog wasn't really very good, was deploy Anthos on GKE with Terraform Part 2 guardrails via policy controller. This was the only thing they had on here, and it was more of a guide and less of an update. So I tried to look at Google product reviews, and there was a few things, but it's mostly sort of articles. What is cloud load balancing? It was less sort of, we've added this service. And so it was pretty difficult to find stuff for GCP. It's a very pretty blog, I'll give it that. But yeah, it was starting to get a little frustrating, so I ended up only finding one thing. Anthos is the hybrid, sort of like getting everything on-prem, multi-cloud, sort of just operating, and it like abstracts it all and stuff like that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool feature. All right, let's move on to some security updates. So I found this really cool website. I'll go over a few things that I found specifically on there that I thought were pretty good. That's not one of them, so ignore that. That was one I was going to show. VMware Vcenter server vulnerability, I guess, is pretty important, really. So if you're using VMware Vcenter, then again, my condolences. I apologize for your hardship. I'm sorry to hear that. So you have to deal with VMware and Vcenter and its awful API that still talks XML. But there you go, there's a vulnerability, so get that fixed. Let's move on to this, the Daily Swig. This is really good. It's got portswigger.net. And this website's awesome. We'll go over the front page in a second, but I really sort of, even my wife looked at this and went, that's a really pretty website on the front page. So that's pretty cool. So millions of South Africans caught up in security incident after debt recovery firm suffers significant data breach. So they've got specific sections here along the top, and data breaches, cyber attacks, vulnerabilities, bug bounties, infosec research, deep dives. It's a really nice website. It's really well structured, but it's just interesting to see here. So it's more than 1.4 million South Africans are suspected to have been impacted by the incident. So yet another data breach, just data breaches everywhere. This is a good link for GCP updates. Oh, let me have a look at that. Copy link. Yes. If it's on the console, have you got to log in? No? Failed to load. There was an error. Oh. It's interesting. Have you got to be logged in, maybe? Possibly. I'll check it out. We'll work it out, not a problem. So that's not good. A lot of South Africans there getting their data stolen. So yet another data breach. There's actually quite a few of them. We'll go over that in just a second. There's a second one here. Alaskan Department of Health reveals data breach, potentially exposing residents' financial and health information. So that is not good at all. Wonder how many people this is going to affect. Let's have a look. Doesn't actually say, does it? Probably not released any numbers. Data breach, yeah, that's a bit of a shame. So yet another data breach. It doesn't require logon, at least for me. Oh, okay. I'll check it out. I will work it out. And then we'll go over, I'll just pull up a couple more updates here, and then we'll look at some general stuff on the Daily Swig, because I actually thought I think it's a really nice website. $17,000 overnight for a Bitcoin scam. I think crypto is one of those interesting topics at the moment that I've pretty much stayed clear of. And given the amount of hacks that take place, I'm kind of glad for it. But yeah, it looks like some people have managed to scam some others into giving up some free coin. It's so this whole crypto stuff, and it's just a risk. I don't know. It's difficult because there is something to be said for that sort of centralized financial management and having someone else sort of look after the money rather than you having this wallet that can just be taken from your computer. It's like, geez. And then you got these now third-party private companies that are like, well, we'll look after your wallet for you. But it's sort of like, who are you? I don't know who you are. With a bank, there's at least heavy regulations in place and so on and so forth. But with a private company, I mean, it's just so much risk. I don't know. What's this? In June, London's High Court ordered Cobra to pay $48,000 to Australian computer scientist Craig White and remove a white paper from Bitcoin. Oh, that White claimed copyright too. Oh, okay. Lots of scammers everywhere. I thought this one was good as well. Get this one. Paste and go. Fake WhatsApp app backup message delivery malware to Spanish speakers devices. That's pretty funny. So I think it was an app that basically said, hey, we can back up all your WhatsApp messages for you, and then off it went. It just offered the no peaks malware. Is that a link to the malware? Postway, that's just malware in general. That malware in general do not shop. Trojan becomes bundled in a .zip archive, which if opened and run on a vulnerable device results in infection. Yikes. I wonder does it say how many people got hit by this? That's pretty nasty. The concept of getting malware, the interest of getting malware on a PC, on a computer, on a laptop, into a network is interesting, but getting it on a mobile device, wow. I think that's probably a much harder thing to achieve, but also much more powerful if you can pull it off. It seems like if you can get access to as many mobile phones as you can just start listening in on things, and that's a big one. I think mobile remote code exploits, aren't they like the most valuable? Like iPhone 0 days and Android 0 days, I think are probably the most valuable on the market, or the black market, I should say. Yikes. Not good. By the way, have you ever heard of IPFS? Yeah, Internet Protocol File System. Yeah, I've never used it. Well, I've interacted with an IPFS website that was hosted on IPFS. It was pretty slow, but it's a very interesting concept. I'm very keen to see a distributed non-centralized. What's the word I'm looking for? Sensor. You can't censor it, basically. Yeah, you can't really you can't do anything about it. You can't take it down. You can't just disable DNS and it disappears. It's just there forever. I actually kind of like the idea behind that. Let's look at the Daily Swig's front page. So there's the South African one I pulled off, and the Alaskan one I pulled off. Really, really interesting. But there is quite a bit here. The page itself is really well presented, and I think there's quite a bit going on. It's a really, really nice resource. I recommend you do it. There's ML security. There we go. Decentralization bug in TensorFlow allowed arbitrary code execution. So there we go. Machine learning coming and bite us on the bum again. Singaporean telco StarHub discloses data leak affecting 57,000 customers. It's just happening everywhere, isn't it? There's just leaks just absolutely everywhere. I'll have a look at specific cyber attacks. That was where they got the Bitcoin one from and the WhatsApp one from. Let's see if there's anything in here. Weaponized managed engine flaw exposes serious risk to high-profile US targets. Epic hack. Cyber attack exposes lax security practices at controversial web host. Why is it a controversial web host? Are you still at risk of getting ransomware on a VPN? Well, a VPN just really... Yeah, because a VPN is just connecting your local system to another system, updating the route table to send traffic over the VPN connection, and then it just pops out the other end. So you're essentially masking your true sort of internet-facing IP address. But if you get malware, if you download something, it's got malware and the VPN doesn't protect you from that. The VPN just changes where you come from. But if you install malware locally and you get ransomware, you're still screwed. Yeah. I guess the outbound connectivity, like so if the ransomware then encrypts or it tries to talk to a remote system, depending on how the VPNs can, whether it's a corporate VPN, could potentially stop that outbound traffic. But mainly ransomware, it tends to be sort of a fixed offline product where it will just use a specific key. It's pre-programmed in, everyone has the same key, or maybe it generates a key pair and sends the private one off, I don't know. And then it'll just lock a host in an instant, give you a Bitcoin wallet and say, send your money to here. So yeah, the VPN's not really going to protect you from that, unfortunately. Epic hackers for last security practice, controversial web host. Activists affiliated with Anonymous are poring over the entrails of a cyber attack against controversial web host Epic. I've never heard of them. Search Bing. As if. English program, Korean. Okay. Let's have a look. Epic company. Hosting for far right. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, I think we'll stick to the Wikipedia definition. 8chan, several of the very controversial sites. Right. Okay. Oh. That's... Yeah, right. Okay. That is extremely... I can see why Anonymous would be taking an interest in the cyber attack of that. US-based web host and domain right Epic, known for offering services. I should have just read down to the next paragraph. What a moron. Content including social media, Gab and Parler, and image board 8chan. In early September, Epic reported offered services to a whistleblower site run by anti-abortion activists based in Texas, placing it in the crosshairs of activists involving in Operation Jane, the campaign against the controversial Texas Heartbeat Act. Anonymous hacked and defaced the evidence following this assault. Okay, message. Masses of stolen data from Epic was going to be released through DDoS Secrets Organization. Activists boasted of releasing a decade's worth of data in databases containing domain ownership records, transaction details, emails, and unsorted or at least unindexed encryption keys among 32 gigabyte trove of leaked data. Yeah, that's pretty nasty. I'd imagine if you have, like, I can't imagine, me personally myself, if I was to lie about being right-wing, and I would be lying about being right-wing, I would do everything to hide my identity. So I don't know how seriously these people take this right-wing stuff and whether it's just a money grab for them and whether they're just lying. And so to now have their data potentially exposed, that puts them in a really, really dangerous situation. Because obviously there's a very large amount of people that disagree with their policies. Let's have a look, at very least. I wonder what was in it. Troy Hunt updated to support victims of the Epic breach over the weekend, in process of offering the clearest index of nature. I haven't looked at Have I Been Pawned in a little while. Epic, September, the domain register Epic, allegedly retaliation for hosting all websites. The breach exposed a huge volume of data, not just of Epic customers, but also scraped Whois records belonging to individuals and organizations who are not Epic customers. The data included over 15 million unique email addresses, including anonymized versions for domain privacy. Names, phone numbers, physical addresses, damn. Purchases and passwords stored in various formats. 15 million. That's not good. Let's have a look. By the way, CA is going to be pretty important for package management wise. CA? Sorry? Content addressable. Okay, let's have a look. There is one use case for it. Looking forward to it, and that is content addressable. Content addressable is going to be pretty important for package management wise. Okay. Can you expand on that a little bit? CA sir? No, he means content addressable stuff, Dan, I think, unless you're trying to be funny, in which case you're not. Let's have a look. The Meris botnet leverages HTTP pipelines to smash DDoS attack records. I thought that was going to say the UK Armed Forces have been hacked. Okay, that's not good. Olympus insists medical services uninterrupted by malware attack. Some great stuff on this website. I really like it. Let's have a look at some vulnerabilities. See if there's anything that we need to be aware of, or any of us need to be aware of. After focus, not so private relay. Apple's new VPN-like privacy service leaks users' true IP addresses. Well, that's not good, is it? WebRTC leak vector. Okay, cool. Well, look, that's like a brief news update. Let's see what we are talking about here. Does anyone have any questions on anything? I've been told I'm not funny by Lord Crilly. Yes, that wasn't very funny, Dan. Come on, behave yourself. You got to try harder. Go to jokes.com or something. Get me a knock joke. So that means package management systems can leverage for reusable across system and avoid having scenario of recompiling due to non-code script changes. Struggling to get my head around that, I'll be honest with you. Not gonna lie. Let's have a look at UKCTL. I need to get back into this. Might do this on the Sunday stream, have a play around with this again. This is something that I've been using in order to stand up an EKS folding because I want to move a couple of production and create a couple of new production workloads into AWS based on EKS. And then I want to sort of share the internal workings of them and then use them as training platforms here on the streams and in my videos for the channel so that people can see an actual live environment and actually then use that to learn how to run it, to learn how to use AWS backups and CloudTrail and Detective and Route 53 and S3 and VPCs and networks and actually see a live system that's actually receiving real traffic. So I'm going to be using EKS to do that. So this is going to be very interesting. Let's have a look at some very boring YAML here. Cluster config object using managed nodes. I don't know if Ninja is about. Ninja, how do you manage what does your cluster configuration look like with regards to EKS, CTL? Manage nodes, min size, max nodes. Yeah, I need to get my head around this. This is going to be a really nice tool to use, or at least I can show one of these days. Yeah, it'd be really nice to have you on the stream to bring you on board and go over some of those details. Excelente. Let me have a look here to see what was that. There was a question I saw. Actually, I thought would be interesting. Where's it gone? No, it seems to have gone. Oh well, not a problem. By the way, I like IPS stand for Interplanetary File System. IPFS looks really good. I think I've seen a few. I've seen a few websites, like I say, hosted on. They were pretty sluggish. But it was pretty resilient. But doesn't it still rely on public DNS in a sense? Pretty certain that it does. I'll check the front page of Reddit, see if anything jumps out at us. In the old issues binding service account. I'm so possible to start a new career. Interesting. These are, wow, come on, behave yourself. These are interesting questions. At least I find them interesting anyway, because I'm dull and boring like that. Hello, I recently registered at my local college for an AWS Cloud Solution Program, 24 classes, AWS Architecture Development Security Foundation. I'm assuming after the program I can test and get my certification in AWS, but is this enough to get a job? This is a really common question, and I've actually covered this on the stream. It's basically, can I get a degree? Can I get a degree, or can I just get an AWS certification, and then can I use that to then get a job? And Adrian Canhill, he was actually on our server for a short while, but he had to pop off because he's got his own Slack as well, which is pretty busy. The Tech Study Slack. It's got about 30,000 members or something ridiculous. So here he is. So you want to change your thinking bit, I think, of the cert as evidence of a certain set of skills. Based on the above, saying, will the cert get me enough job, is going to be impossible to answer because it depends on how much or little skills you have. That's very true. One course is not the same as another. Some focus on passing exams, some focus on in-depth skills. The result from finishing both will be vastly different. I still think that if you're at the very beginning with no experience whatsoever, a certificate certainly, it acts as a confidence boost for you, but it also acts as a sort of benchmark that you've passed. So if you go, I want to work in AWS, I want to be an AWS engineer, I want to work in cloud, I want to work in AWS, give me a job, but you haven't even taken the time to get a certification, then you've not really deep dived into the platform itself. And so you've not shown that you can actually stick it out and get through that. And so that's why I think certification would be quite important if you're at the very, very beginning. But Adrian is correct here in that it really does depend on what you're going to be learning on that course. It's not just going to be as simple as I've got to get a certificate and then I'm going to be able to get a job. That's unfortunately just simply not true. So let's have a little look. No, that's the only answer. Oh, that's a shame. Well, it is a good answer from Adrian. Adrian certainly knows what he's talking about. So that's an interesting one. That's actually a really, really common question. Really common question. Is getting started, getting into the industry is really, really common. Ansible WinRM connection to Windows Server. Okay, Terraform GitHub Actions setup. Upgrade EKS cluster. Anything popping out here? I think it's time to bail. Oh, okay, let's have a look. Yeah, I like that full stream rant. Let's have a look. New 6 months plus more conservative RPM implementation. I think it's time to bail. This is in sysadmin. Hang on. Vice President. Oh, okay. The VP. New 6 months plus more conservative RPM implementation than the other 400 items that need addressed. Would prefer to put Windows XP back in environment over what? Would prefer to put Windows XP back into environment over solving issues reported with Windows 10. He refuses to put anything in email, contradicts himself whenever it looks like he did something wrong, constantly belittles all staff to all other staff. Yikes. Primary tech, I think it's meant to be like tech lead. 25 years in the company, bailing out and taking retirement now due to aforementioned VP. Secondary tech, 6 months in, treated like dog crap. No access granted to do job until primary tech announced retirement. Me, day 14. What the ever-living F have I walked into? Oh my god. Concept of admin access is foreign. All users have it. Oh, damn. Hey, Cranky, how you doing, mate? Thanks for popping into the stream. I did see you in there before. Not sure if it was covered already, but Cloudflare have released an object storage solution with no data egress fees. Whoa. Cloudflare R2 storage, rapid and reliable object storage minus the egress fees. Cloudflare storage, by giving developers the ability to store large amounts of unstructured data, we're expanding what's possible with Cloudflare while slashing the egress bandwidth fees associated with typical cloud storage services to zero. That's interesting. Cloud R2 storage includes full S3 API compatibility, working with existing tools and applications as built. Let's get into all the details, okay? Really requestable. Object storage, sometimes referred to as blob storage, stores arbitrarily large unstructured files. Hey Fraud, how's it going? Object storage is well suited to storing everything from media files or log files to application-specific metadata, all retrievable with consistent latency, high durability, and limitless capacity. Okay, so basically it's S3. Oh, hang on. As much similar to S3 when S3 launched, transfer to the cloud. Yeah, okay. Just taxi developers have grown accustomed to paying. Yeah, enter R2. Okay. Traditional object storage charges developers for three things: bandwidth, storage size, and storage operations. R2 built on Cloudflare's commitment to the Bandwidth Alliance, providing a zero-cost egress for stored objects, no matter your request rate. Egress bandwidth is often the largest charge for developers utilizing object storage and is also the hardest charge to predict. Yeah, very true. Eliminating it is a huge win for open access to data stored in the cloud. It's practically impossible to predict because especially if it's a public object that's being requested, such as static assets inside of for a web app. I mean, how you can't predict the traffic you're going to get, so it's impossible to predict, really. I mean, you can use historical data and trends to try and go, we think on a Monday at 11 o'clock in the morning, just before lunch, people start hitting our website, and so that's when we're going to see the most traffic, but you still don't going to know how much traffic you're going to get. So this is a big win. All right, we need a name for our S3 competitor, QRSTU 12345 R2. Yeah, very clever. Very clever indeed. That doesn't mean we are shifting bandwidth costs elsewhere. Cloudflare R2 will be priced at 0.015 per gigabyte of data stored per month, significantly cheaper than major content providers. 0.015 per gig. So using SI model of 1000 gigabytes per terabyte, not 1024, it's $15 per month per terabyte US. It's pretty good. Infrequent access to objects is often trivial for providers to support, yet incurs the same per operation charges. We don't think it's fair that typical object storage bills a developer making one request a second the same rate as an enterprise making thousands of requests a second, or frequently a higher rate when considering negotiating volume discounts. Okay, R2 will zero rate infrequent storage operations under a threshold, currently planned to be in the single-digit requests per second range. Wow, okay. Repositioning records. Yeah, someone should come up with B2, which is 0.005 per gigabyte, I agree. And then A2, which is then a tenth of that. Get on it, Vince. Come on, mate, you're a professional. You can build B2. What's stopping you? You can be literally B2 can be like block box or something. I don't know. To make this easy, requiring a charge of tool and Cloudflare. Okay, let's have a look. So free. I think they got this very clear graphic here showing pull out. B2 is okay. B2 is real. Backblaze are good. Yeah, I like Backblaze. I might consider using Backblaze on my desktop actually. Start get some backups of stuff. I like that they got this graphic here just showing you just hoover all your data out of S3 and then don't pay anything for egress charges. Interesting. Okay, the core of what makes object storage great is reliability. We designed R2 for data durability and resilience at its core. R2 will provide a lot of 11 nines of an annual durability, which describes the likelihood of data loss. If you store 1 million objects in R2, you can expect to lose one once every 100,000 years. Okay. That's not going to be an issue, I don't think. The same level of durability as other major providers. Wow. Yeah, someone really does have to throw shades at AWS. Yeah. If R2 becomes popular, does AWS change the pricing model of S3? Not sure if I see that. It's a good question, actually, Frankie, because that's one of the things about open market, right, is competition drives down prices. So it'll be very interesting to see if competition really is the only thing that regulates prices down. Exactly, Phil. It'd be interesting to see if they do go down or whether they just kind of go, because I mean, AWS are probably just going to be like, oh, well, I mean, we've got 80% of the market, so do we need to reduce prices? We said it at the same time. I read what you said, Phil, as you typed it. I started my sentence and then your sentence came in, and then I just took off naturally and just read it because I'm a professional broadcaster in that way. Radically reprogrammable. R2 is fully integrated with Cloudflare Workers serverless runtime. Cloudflare Workers is something that I need to actually look at as well. How much money does AWS make off people who forget to turn off servers, leave them T3 large for 2 months, and get stuck with the bill? Yeah, probably a lot. Yeah, it's probably an awful lot. There's a lot of pricing, I've just noticed there's ADV in the chat there. Hey, mate, welcome back to the stream. There's a lot of servers that operate that way. There's a lot of sign up for like a free trial, and then you forget about the free trial, and then you've paid $20 for some service, and then you forget, and then you don't see it until it's too late, and you've paid for it 2 or 3 times over. Bezos just went to space because he has FU money from AWS, so that's how much, pretty much. Not just AWS, Amazon as well, don't forget. R2 is fully integrated with the Cloudflare Workers. So you can bind worker to a specific bucket, dynamically transform objects as they were written to, all read from the storage buckets. The deep integration between workers and R2 makes building data pipelines and manipulating objects incredibly easy. That's pretty impressive. That's actually really, really impressive that you can. So that means that if a request comes in for a read, the function will run, manipulate the data, and then send it through. That's actually pretty impressive. Will I be able to build? When will you be able to build with Cloudflare R2? There's a lot you can do with long-term storage, especially with access to the workers' compute platform just alongside it. For example, streaming data, blah, 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 blah. R2 is also a great CDN for assets and large media files. For large files, R2 can significantly extend cache lifetimes while dramatically slashing egress bills. This would actually be good. One thing that I've always wondered is taking these recordings of all my videos and everything that I do, they all essentially end up on YouTube because YouTube essentially acts as a backup, right? This would mean I could do a double backup and we could get them automatically on R2, and then we could make those public objects available to you. So if you wanted to download the MP4, raw MP4 of a video and not watch it on YouTube, because even though I don't monetize, there may be potential for adverts still, then you could just download the MP4. This enables that. That was one thing we were wondering, is how we could do that without incurring egress charges. And this would actually enable that for us. Currently under development, you can sign up here to join a waitlist for access. Amazing. Okay, we're announcing an open beta where any user will be able to sign up for the service soon. Okay, thanks for sharing that, Cranky. I really appreciate that. That's actually a really good one. I wonder if I would have got that if I'd have gone to... because I've not looked at Hacker News today. Let's see if it's on the front page. Let's have a look. Dude, where's my stuff? Secret military aircraft possibly exposed on TikTok. Lol. The illegality of web scraping. Let's see if it's on. It's on Hacker News. No, Is it? It is. Look at that. Number 29. You sneaky little cranky dog there with a sneaky poster that's already on. Is that where you got it from? Did you get it from Hacker News? I was going to ask you what your news source is. I'm always interested in hearing about other people's news sources so that I'm not missing anything that's better than Hacker News. I do find Hacker News is pretty good, though, for picking up this kind of stuff. Let's have a look at this bandwidth alliance. I think that looks good. We've got another 7 minutes to go before I've got to pop off, but this looks really interesting. Cloud providers partner to reduce data transfer fees. The Bandwidth Alliance is a group of forward-thinking cloud and networking companies that are committed to discounting or waiving data transfers, also known as bandwidth fees, for shared customers. Okay, who is in it? Who's in it? Egress savings calculator. How much can I save with the Bandwidth Alliance? We've got all these calculators here. Partners, Alibaba Cloud, Microsoft Azure's in there, Linode's in there, DreamHost's in the Scalaway, Tencent. I notice AWS is missing from this list. Backblaze is in there. Excellent. So, hang on. The Bandwidth Alliance of that's all of Cloudflare's offerings. So, am I under attack? No, I don't know if I'm under attack or not. I don't think I am. Let's have a look. Interested in how much bandwidth can I save? The data transfer fees charged by many cloud providers can be an integral part of your cloud hosting bill since the cloud providers use blah, blah, blah. Okay, you got it from a Twitter feed. My God, I need to get on Twitter. I need to get on it like a car bonnet. I want to look at these Cloudflare workers as well. This is something that I've seen mentioned in the past, but never. Whoa, it's pretty cool. You write code, we handle the rest. Deploy serverless code instantly, so it's basically Lambda, but I wonder how fast it is and how cheap it is and how good it is. From sign up to globally deployed in less than 5 minutes, your code runs within milliseconds of your users worldwide. Say goodbye to cold start support for 0 milliseconds worldwide new. So I think with this, because they're obviously like a CDN, I think the idea is that you can give them, essentially you build a Lambda with them, the equivalent of a Lambda, but then they distribute it everywhere. And then when it runs, it just runs really, really quick, and it runs automatically really, really close as well. Writing JavaScript, Rust, C, and C++. Choose your template, your language, templates. You better have Go. Otherwise, I'm going to go mental. Probably not. got a good documentation, lots of examples. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Background, JavaScript and TypeScript, WASM supported, compiled to JavaScript. So it's primarily JavaScript then. Polyglot platform, you can write your code in Workers in a language you already know. Workers to execute JavaScript and WebAssembly, and over time we've added support for new languages. Deep and integrated popular languages like Python for Workers. I'd probably use Python anyway, to be honest with you. Kind of mostly joking around with the Go thing. You can also compile to JavaScript as well, which ideally won't be doing. Let's have a look at this Python example. I want to see what this is. Does anyone, before we head out, got a couple of minutes left, does anyone want to look at anything specifically? Something cool. Oh, yeah, actually, no, we know what we need to look at. We need to look at Julio. That thing you posted earlier. I think you did it in General Cloud. No, you didn't. You did it in, where did you do it? Where did you do it? Where did you post it? Was it in General DevOps? Rover, yes. Hey, cranky doggy. Doggy? Check this out. Check this out. This is a tool found by Julius here in the chat for visualizing Terraform. Check this out. I really like this. Can I open image in new tab? Oh, that's just awful, but you can barely see it because of this on the right here. It's obviously a graphic. It's within a graphic almost. But you feed it your Terraform code. It does a plan, analyzes the plan, and then actually graphs it out and gives you this. But it also presents it via a web server automatically. So it runs in a Docker container, exposes a web server, and then you navigate to it, and this is what you see. But it can also actually expose it as static content as well. I thought that this was really nice. I'm going to have a play around with this in a bit, actually. But I think that that's actually really, really nice. That would be really important. And I know that Dan was scrambling to get this into a CI pipeline. Did you manage to get that done? Dan, were you able to get that in there? I've been looking for this. Let me just pop it in here for you. There you go. Check that out. Thanks for stream, Michael. No problem, Vince. Oh, he's popped off, but thank you, Vince. He's hitting the sack. It's pretty late for Vince. I think he's in Canada, I think. By the way, it's interactive once you generate it. Oh, yeah, it's interactive. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. So you can click on things and it pops away. Really clever. I think that's going to be an extremely powerful tool. Wouldn't surprise me if it even gets bought up by someone, to be perfectly honest with you. What have we got here? Any other things here? I can't really think of anything else. I want to look at this secret military aircraft. Secret military aircraft possibly exposed on TikTok. Okay, so there's the TikTok there. And then we've got the truck here. Got that bush there. Got that bush there. Scaffolding here. And then what looks like a very stealthy looking plane that you probably wouldn't want exposing. Video of you put. Who does that? Who works on a top secret site and films it on TikTok? This is something. Oh my god, an OPSEC violation has once again made a case for why using TikTok should be a punishable offense in the military, this time after someone revealed some US stealth technology testing going on and posted it to the Chinese government affiliated platform. And unfortunately, it is affiliated with the Chinese government. It is a Chinese product. So it is, all the data is going to go there. The stealth object, possibly a component of a new drone or plane, was filmed on a tractor-trailer platform at Helendale Radar cross-section facility. Oh, I don't know. Well, I mean, I do wonder why the person even had a phone or should be allowed to have a phone on them. When I worked in the UK on a sensitive site, I wasn't allowed my phone when I went into certain parts of the site. So why this person has their phone with top secret information being moved around is beyond me. But there you go. Well, that's it. So does anyone else have any questions, or be calling it a day? Anything you want to talk about? How are you doing? Big DevOps stretch. Get some DevOps done. Get some Python done. Get some IAM policies done. That's what I'm working on today. And I'm looking at moving a Python tool over into AWS Backup. Or rather, replacing it with AWS Backup. That's what I'm doing. All right, well, that's it then. Hope you're all having a good day. Enjoy the rest of your day. Especially you, cranky doggy. Don't work too hard. I know you don't anyway. Dan, you're not on the stream anymore. You need to get funny. Sorry, Cranky. I'm just kidding. Oh, look, you've just been promoted to level 4 technician. Amazing. All right, well, that's it. That's all done and dusted. You see how hard I work. You got promoted, mate. You've not even been here that long, and you've been promoted already. Absolutely amazing. Night, Julius, and night to most of the audience actually, because it's all mostly US bound. So I appreciate you coming to stream. Thanks very much. We'll continue a format similar to this, but I'll try and make it a bit more interesting. Let me know if this was okay, the way we approach this. I do want it to be a bit more relaxed, a bit more casual. I think doing cloud news, looking at interesting tools and things like that is going to be good for people, but do let me know. It's going to be important that you guys let me know, because I'm doing this for you, really, more than anything. All right. Be gone.
Very nice.